Yes, sir.
That was a good pun.
Explosive music, that's so cliche.
And remember, have fun with it.
Welcome back to Raw and Unfiltered. This is Morning Wood. We will be discussing today our playoff predictions for the East. We have a play-in video that may get released a little bit later. There's some technical difficulties happening. I just want to get those takes out because we have some very interesting things that happened. Some very interesting things that didn't even pan out. For example, Golden State is not in the playoffs, which is a big shock to all of us. Let's just start here at the beginning. Let's start here at the beginning. Go ahead and get it in with our introductions, and we'll just recap the play-in real quick before we get into our predictions. So I am Hitch, Starks, Josh, whatever you want to call me. You already know what my handle is at Xmg.Xotic. Catch me on all social media platforms, on Twitter at Raw and Unfiltered TV or at XMG Team. Below me, we got
your boy Jose. You already know. Cuban boy _305 on all social media platforms. Follow y'all boy. Next is Mr.
Your one and only favorite Knicks fan, Julian. Mr. Donald, you can follow me on Twitter at XMG.JD. Got a question about one of my takes, DM me. We could chop it up, toss some ball. But let's see what we got here.
All right, so off rip, I just want to get everybody's reaction to the play-in. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What game stood out to you? Which team stood out to you? Any surprises? Anything that we didn't expect happen? So I'll pass it off to Julian. I know you're itching for this. So what's your play-in?
I thought it was a overall pretty successful play-in. Most of the games outside of two of them were pretty competitive. I think it's pretty funny. Both games in Indiana were blowouts, but is what it is. That Lakers Golden State game was the most watched game since the Western Conference Finals in 2019, I believe. The outcome is very interesting, to say the least. I know people have different views on that game and how it went, but we can go all day about that. Jose, got anything to add?
Well, I like the games a lot in terms of drawing ratings for the NBA and just an extra few games for fans to watch at the end of the year. Competitive games, to say the least. Except, like Julian said, the two Indiana Pacers games. But I don't like the idea of the play-in games going forward just because it doesn't benefit anybody besides the 9th and 10th teams. Seeds, I should say. For the 7-8 seeds, you basically lock in your spots, and now you have to go play an extra 1 or 2 games to actually come back and get in the playoffs. So I personally don't see the purpose of it going forward, but I can't say it hasn't been entertaining to watch so far.
I definitely think first full season of the play-in in its entirety was definitely a success. I am completely surprised that the Grizzlies took care of Golden State. But after watching that game, definitely the better team is in the playoffs, and I much prefer to watch the Grizzlies go up against the Jazz after watching the game in its entirety than Golden State, even though I am a huge Curry fan. I think that was the only real surprise. And of course, the biggest surprise that you guys didn't really bring up, but the fact that LeBron was even allowed to play in the play-in is absolutely ridiculous. Should have been suspended. Should not have been allowed to play. Karis LeVert missed his 2 Indiana Pacers games, which if he were there, who's to say they don't make the playoffs? So
I will say, just to add to that James Harden did it first. So technically is the Harden rule, because he was caught violating the protocols and he still got to play like 3 days later.
Regardless,
just putting that out there.
The rule is the rule. and LeBron should have been suspended for at least that play-in game against Golden State. If he's not there, Golden State's in the playoffs, and the Lakers are the 8th seed playing the Jazz. So, just very interesting. But nonetheless, we are here now. We are here in the playoffs. So let's talk about matchups. We got the matchups right here in the East, and we'll do the West and a video following right after this. So if you want to check out our West predictions, stay tuned to the channel. It'll be it should be up while this one's up. So in the East, 1-8, we got Philly and Washington. 4-5, we have the Knicks in Atlanta. 6-3, we have Milwaukee and Miami. And 2-7, we have Brooklyn and Boston. Now, before we give our takes, I just want to give a quick little saying that we've already watched game one. The play-in and the playoffs started back-to-back, so we didn't have time to get in there before game one. But I don't think that really changes our perception on this first round. We kind of have already had these picks. So if you want to place your series bets, I'm sure it's still not too late to do that. All right. So first, we're going to take Philly versus Washington. Do we think Washington even stands a chance, or do we think that maybe they can give some of these young guys some experience moving into next year? Because I think this series is already pretty much locked up. What do you guys think?
A chance in winning a game.
Yeah, a chance of winning the game.
Series.
A chance at a gentleman's sweep. Do you think that Westbrook and Beal can give them a chance at a gentleman's sweep?
I think they'll steal one at home. That's not even steal, but I guess you could say steal. They'll get one at home, but I think Westbrook and Beal will play out their mind. Like Beal will drop anywhere between 35, 40, 45 points, and then Westbrook with his triple-double. And everybody else is pretty much going to have to be locked on as well for them to even steal a game. I think Philly is just too good, too physical, too big in general. They have size everywhere. Ben Simmons, Danny Green, Embiid, all these boys. So that series is well over 5 games to me. I wouldn't be surprised if they get swept, to be honest.
I think this is pretty much black and white, as I would say. I think Doc Rivers has done a pretty good job with Philly and like really making them a team with identity. Really like honing into their rotations and whatnot. It's definitely not the same Philly team from before that usually like fold in the playoffs. I think they'll make a decent run. And the Wizards are just, as Jose said, they're smaller, just more talent on the other side. Like, I just think it's pretty much black and white. If you guys want to add anything else.
If you actually look at – go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying if you look at the brackets, I think on both sides, East and West, I think Philly actually has the easiest path to the conference finals by far. Like, no disrespect to the Knicks or Atlanta or Washington, but those 3 teams compared to any other side of the brackets, like let's say Milwaukee would have to be Miami and then either Brooklyn or Boston. Then you go down, Lakers would have to be Phoenix and then probably Denver. And then Utah would have to be Memphis and then Clippers or stuff like that. I think they by far have the easiest path.
Not only do they have the easiest path, they are the best team in basketball. I said at the beginning of the season that the addition of Seth Curry to this team would make this team formidable, would make a huge difference. And not only have they added Seth Curry, they added Danny Green, which gives them the needed spacing on the floor to let Embiid go to work. Ben Simmons has found his role as just that second big body that can handle the ball. I think Doc Rivers has done an amazing job with his crew, and everyone is talking about a Philly Brooklyn Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think Brooklyn wants to see Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals. They have no answer for Embiid. Wizards have no answer for Embiid, so I'll keep it to this round. I don't think the Wizards get a game. If you got guys like Tobias Harris going off for 34,
Yeah, he's definitely coming to his own. Definitely dropping buckets.
it's literally nothing you can do with that team if you allow somebody else in that team to score 30 other than Joel Embiid. Literally nothing. So
I think Tobias has a lot to prove just because they basically chose him over Jimmy Butler in a sense. Yeah. And he hasn't, to me, Jimmy Butler, we already saw what he did with Miami last year. So Tobias is looking like Philly made the wrong choice.
This is the perfect role for him, though. This is the perfect role for Tobias. He's like the second, third option on that team, right? It's like you got Joel Embiid, who's the clear-cut number one. Then they let Ben kind of run the offense how he wants to. And Tobias is in that like Drew Holiday role for the Bucks, where he can get off when he wants to, and he can do what he wants to within the flow. There's not much pressure on him. I think he does have a lot to prove, but I don't think there's a lot of pressure on him in this system that Doc Rivers has built. So I think this is the perfect situation for him. This is the perfect playoffs for him to go crazy like he did in Game 1. So we'll see how that goes. So we all pretty much consensus here. Does anybody think Wizards will get a game other than Jose? Julian, what do you think?
Nah, give me the sweep. Just give me the sweep. I'm not even gonna entertain that, to be honest.
All right. So then, with that, we'll move on to 2-7, which is Boston and Brooklyn. Game 1 is already finished. It was actually a really close game up until the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Like I've been telling everybody all year, defense matters. In the playoffs, defense matters. If Jaylen Brown was on the floor for Boston, they easily win Game 1. I do not like Brooklyn. I don't like the way they play. They can't defend a fly. And when it comes down to it, they will wind up beating this Boston team, I think, in 5 games. I think Boston may sneak one. But when they get to the next round against Miami, that I'm trying to tell you, whether it's Miami or the Bucks, that series is going to go 7. And they're not going to have the horses to then go and beat Philly. I don't think so. But we'll see how it plays out. I don't like the way this Brooklyn team plays. So I'll pass it off to anybody that wants to pick up after.
I mean, I think their offense is actually beautiful to watch. I think they actually, at first, everybody had questions about, you have ball dominant stars, mostly in Kyrie and Harden, because KD, as you could tell when he played with Westbrook, he could play off ball. Even when he played in Golden State, he had Curry and Clay, and he only needs 10 to 15 shots a game, and he'll give you 30 points on 60% shooting easily. Defensively, you could see. Well, I mean, yeah, you could see that there might be a big issue there, but until they face a legitimate team that could score with them, I don't think their defensive liability is going to be a problem. Miami, I just don't think they could score enough. That's my thing. In
that game against Boston, though, Boston was scoring at will. It was simply guys that just didn't step up. Kemba Walker had an awful game. That wasn't due to defense. He was just missing open shots.
I mean, but that's Kemba Walker in the playoffs every year.
I mean, yeah, but literally replace that team with any other team in the East, they lose that Game 1 easily. Easily, they lose that Game 1.
Probably. I mean, Boston with Jaylen Brown would have been a whole different story for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking about a two-way guard.
It's because Brooklyn does not play defense.
No, yeah, but also he gives you his 25 points, and then he also defends at the other end.
Right, he defends on the other end. Yeah.
So I mean, I have Brooklyn in 5. I mean, I give him 5 games just because Jason Tatum and what he does, and also, I mean, Kemba Walker. They're not a bad team, so you got to give them the respects. No, I don't think they're a bad team.
They're a bad team. It's okay to say.
But I give him a game just on Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, as you could tell, dropped 60 points one game. The other day he dropped 50. Like he'll steal a game for them, but it'll be a gentleman's sweep.
Julian, you think Boston can get a game against Brooklyn?
Once again, no. Give me the sweep. Boston clearly doesn't have enough, and honestly, like even if Jaylen Brown was there, they're still not better. Brooklyn, you can say what you want about their defense, but I think right now they're definitely like playing down a little to their competition. I mean, I think it was pretty evident in game one because Boston was in the game, and then whatever happened. They came out with W either way. I think you could say that. I think they would play up to a better team, like whoever is going to be.
You can't turn on defense in the playoffs.
I mean,
yeah.
They put on decent, okay performances on defense, and like I said, like at the end of the day, they're not gonna have to play that much. Like it's just that simple. Like if they get hot at any point in time and you don't have the firepower to catch up, then I just don't see it. Like they're just really gonna have to fold. I mean, we've seen it with Harden many times. I think he's under pressure. He had an okay game. KD is clearly still KD. I mean, we'll see what happens, but they'll definitely get past this Boston series. So
we will see. This is my coup de grace. This is my my painting here. This is my favorite take that I've been saying all year that I feel like is going to come to fruition. And that first game spoke volumes to me. It's game one. I know it's Boston. Yeah. I know. But when it comes to them playing the big horses, I don't think that KD, Harden, or Kyrie are going to be able to stop anybody. I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
And I actually think they're good defenders, though. And not all the time, but in short stretches, they've proven to be good defenders.
Definitely decent.
KD's a plus defender off ball.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, who is really gonna take KD one-on-one?
I don't want to jump to this. But you get a Philly Brooklyn matchup, and it's mismatches all over the place. I don't think Philly has the horses to guard Brooklyn, but I definitely don't think Brooklyn has the horses to guard anybody on Philly. They're going to have to triple team Joel Embiid all day, which is going to leave guys open for three. It's going to leave Tobias Harris able to do whatever the hell he wants to do. And who's stopping? Literally, the only thing Ben Simmons can do is get to the rim. Who's stopping him at the rim on that team? They're going to have 120 points in the paint. I don't see Brooklyn beating them unless these dudes average like 100 points a night between the three of them, which they're capable of. But we will see. We will see. I'm really excited about this because I don't think Brooklyn is the team to get there. But we shall see. Anyway, let's move on. 6-3, probably going to be the series of the whole playoffs. Milwaukee versus Miami. Tonight, Milwaukee is, I think, -4.5 against Miami. I think that's very disrespectful given what happened in game one. But what do we think here? I think a couple of us are biased. So I'll start with Mr. Bias down there. Bam out of the Bayou. What do you think Miami has to do tonight to get a win? And who do you think wins the series?
I personally think that Mr. Bam Adebayo Edris needs to grow a pair of
It's okay.
And a pair of balls, to be honest, because the man played like a fucking female that whole fucking game. It was honestly frustrating to watch. Like, Brook Lopez is giving this man 5, 6, 7 feet, and you've been working on this mid-range shot all year, knocking it down consistently, and all of a sudden you get to the playoffs and he's not even looking at the rim. It'd be a thing if he shot 2, 3, 4 of them, completely misses them. But he did it. He wasn't even looking at the rim. He's literally just looking to pass or to hand off to Duncan Robinson for a 3, which is fine. You can run your offense like that sometimes. But there comes a time where your best player, which is it's still Jimmy Butler, but Bam is a close second. You literally have to take over the game. And you have to make a statement in the playoffs and let them know that if you're not going to come up to me and close out on me, I'm going to destroy you all game. And you got to make them adjust. And that's how the series is going to go back and forth, whoever can make adjustments. Spo is, I would say, top 2, top 3 best coaches in terms of adjusting throughout games and throughout series. The Bucks head coach, Mike Budenholzer, is actually, to me, well, I wouldn't say he's the worst, but to me, he's actually one of the worst coaches in actually adjusting. As we saw last year, especially when they played Miami. He really didn't do much. That's why Miami got them in 5 games. But, I mean, to me, it all comes down to edges. I don't think him and Butler and Hero will all shoot that bad again. But it still comes down to him because Jimmy is going to be a dog and give you whatever he – like, he's going to give you everything every single night. And everybody, Dragic is going to be there and stuff, but it comes down to Bam. It really does.
I don't think the Bucks coach has even made adjustments this year.
He doesn't.
Miami had, I say we, I'm a Miami fan, but Miami had open shots that whole night. They just didn't hit them. Like wide open shots. Idris, if you turn around and look at the rim at the free throw line, you will see Brook Lopez parked underneath that bitch with a campfire. Like, even if he takes a step in and works on that floater that he's been working on all year, it's there. Everything is there. The paint is wide open. Brook Lopez is one of the worst pick and roll defenders in the NBA as a big. It is there. I don't understand what was in his mind that game. If he was sick, if somebody told him he couldn't shoot, if his mama told him if he had money on the game. That's the only way I could possibly think. He had money on Milwaukee in game 1. That is the only possible explanation I can have because he's been literally knocking that shot down in people's faces all year. So I think Bam, unfortunately, this is what I think will happen in game 2 is that Bam is going to make this adjustment and the other guys are not going to step up. I don't think Duncan Robinson is going to hit seven threes again. I think Milwaukee's going to play him tighter. I don't know if Dragic goes for 25 points off the bench again. Nunn proved already that he's literally a liability on the court. He can't get past Jrue Holiday. Tyler Hero forgot how to shoot the basketball. It's going to rely – this whole series is going to go back and forth between whether or not Bam asserts himself and Jimmy hits shots. If they do that, I think Miami wins this series in 7. I think this is literally going to be one of the best series that we've seen in a long time. And I think this series is going to tell a lot about Giannis's mentality because I did not like what I saw from him in game 1. He took 20-something shots. He was like 10 for 20-something. He shot terrible from the free throw line. His mentality is just not right. I don't know what it is about that team that he's not clicking properly, but I think it's very telling to that Bucks team that he's not right, and I don't think that they're ready to take that next step. So, Julian, if you have anything to say to this, next series.
Well, I'm just gonna keep this pretty short. Mr. Chris Middleton, my friend. Chris, as I would like to say, Middle Bricks. However, that man has definitely heard me. I know I'm here. I know I'm in his fucking head. That's number one. Because in past years, he has not shown up in the playoffs. I said the Bucks will never make the finals if he didn't get his shit together. And let me say, he definitely got his shit together. The Bucks have a closer. Giannis, finally, I mean, as much as we want to say what he does for the first 48 minutes, I just think it's really deflating to see him play in the last 2 minutes of the game and know that he's not hitting the ball because he can't do anything with it, especially because a team like Miami who already knows how to defend him, clearly, at this point. And I'm sure the rest of the NBA is taking notice. The Bucks, I think they have the defenders now to deal with Miami. Yes, it was one game. Yes, the Heat shot terribly. But at the same time, it's like I think the Bucks played guys like Jimmy, outside of Dragic, most of your guard. I think they played him pretty well. I think
I do agree
it's
with
definitely it's definitely going to be a great series. I really can't. I definitely is going to go 7. But it's tough, man.
I think the addition of PJ Tucker was big for Milwaukee
Definitely.
to have another body to guard Jimmy. But at the same time, you can clearly see that Miami has their number when moving and flowing in their offense. Miami, for the majority of the year, has been pretty stagnant on offense, but against the Milwaukee Bucks, they got whatever the hell they wanted. They got whatever looks they wanted. Wide open threes are being taken. I just think that shots have to be hit. I think Idris needs to take over the game. He needs to be aggressive. That was the turning point in the whole game. Even with Jimmy shooting like absolute trash, Miami still had the game in their hands. So I don't think that that makes a difference. I think that what will make the difference moving forward is in late game situations, not having Duncan Robinson on the floor to guard Chris Middleton. I think Spo will make the adjustment to have Ariza.
Yeah, I think at this.
He will have.
Yeah, I think at this point he needs a game plan. Like I think he's shown, okay, like I'm gonna hurt you.
And I think that I've always been a Chris Middleton fan. This is his perfect role. He's in this same role as Tobias Harris right now because of the addition of Drew Holiday, who can handle the ball in late game situations, who can run the offense. I think this is the perfect situation for Middleton because he doesn't have the pressure that he had on him in the last few years. He can take those shots and still feel like, okay, well, this time down the floor, they're going to play me like this. I can give it to Drew. Drew can create something. And I think that addition to the team makes them better. But the engine of that team is Giannis, and that engine right now is broken. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know what's wrong with his mentality. But if Giannis does not pick it up in this series, the Bucks will sputter and they will lose this series. So probably will be the most exciting series. Does anybody have anything else they want to say to this?
I don't know if we realize Giannis, all his points were either dunks, layups, or free throws. He has 0 mid-range and 0 3-pointers. So he has no confidence.
He will be due a game where he will catch fire. And that game will be a blowout.
He has his games where he hits his shots, yeah. But for the most part.
I think like what it just comes down to, like for 48 minutes, he's in great, honestly, obviously in great physical shape. But like the stamina it takes that you're exerting for 48 minutes doing his style of play, and the fact that he plays both sides of the ball, like
because it's very limited skill.
It's
not skill based.
Yeah, like that is true, but at the same time, it's like
physical basketball.
He's taking. You see it in the first game one. I didn't watch it. I saw highlights, but you see it in game one, like these free throws he's missed at the end of the game. It's like that's clearly like exertion.
He's not tired at the end of the game.
It's like I mean, you could say he's not tired, but like we all play basketball. We know what driving how much stamina you use.
No, but these are elite athletes. These are elite athletes. He's not tired at the end of the game.
That is true, but Miami's a great defensive team, so you know it's a physical game. I'm just saying, you know, it's just stuff to think about. Yeah, they are professionals, but you know, it's just it's black and white with Giannis now. Like, shoot the goddamn ball, and they can definitely win a championship. If he just had a midi, like, forget the 3 at this point. Like, literally just go to any source you can possible and just practice the midi. Like, even if he had the midi,
he got in the post.
He would be a force.
He tried to hit some fade. He does not have the skill to do it. He doesn't have the footwork. He's just not that guy. And it's okay. But look, we got to move on. We only got a few minutes left, so we're going to move on to the Knicks in Atlanta, which surprised the hell out of me game one.
Didn't surprise me.
I had the Knicks
And-
winning this series in 6 games, but I did not expect Atlanta to steal one in New York, especially with all the hype, especially with all the momentum. One of the hottest teams in basketball, the Knicks. But Tom Thibodeau. I think it's time for us to start putting the spotlight on his inability to win games in the playoffs.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna start off and say I'm just gonna get my whole take out the way. As much as I'm excited that the Knicks are finally in the playoffs, there is something called reality, and in reality, we have little to none playoff experience. The guys that don't play as many minutes for us, so you have that. Atlanta, as much as you want to talk about Atlanta, and we did dominate them during the regular season, but once again, it does not matter. As much as you want to talk about Atlanta, they're just as hungry. Like, they were disrespected last year. There's pressure on Trae Young. And when you really look at how they're attacking the Knicks, like, off the pick and roll, we're literally forcing him to shoot, but it's like, one-on-one, he's getting in the rim, and they have the wings out there that can shoot. So it's pretty much Trae Young one-on-one. I don't know why you talk about Tibbs, and I don't know why he decided to put Frank in the last possession of the motherfucking game.
That was his
last possession of the game. You put Frank in, Tibbs. Last possession of the game. You didn't even give him a quarter. You literally said last minute of the game, all right, give me your defense. What the fuck is that?
One of the worst coaching decisions I think of it.
What
Cold.
is that?
Completely cold.
And at the same time, Julius Randle folded. 100% folded. He did not have a good game. I think he'll make up for it. RJ, I say, had a decent game. He didn't play too well, shooting from the outside, but he had a decent game. Derrick Rose showed up. Taj Gibson showed up, but I think that take on Tibbs is pretty good. Like, you put him on the last possession of the game. It's like why? Like, it's like pity just putting him out there. Like, it just makes me so upset. And
Jose, I gotta pass it off to Jose. We're running out of time. Jose,
all right.
Well, I still think the Knicks could come back. I honestly think that their defense is gonna show up in the 7-game series. And I think to me, it was a toss-up, but the Knicks having home court advantage and that 7th game being in the Garden, I feel like is actually going to motivate them, and they're going to take that series in 7. But yeah, yesterday, that whole, I really don't know what Tom Thibodeau was doing yesterday. I really don't. I mean, I have no answer for you. Frank doesn't even play that much. And that game, did he even play? I don't even think he played all game.
He didn't.
So you put him in on the most crucial play of the whole game, and you have him guard their best player. I mean, you're just asking to get beat. Like, you're literally just asking to get beat. But I think New York bounces back easily in game 2. And I think Julius Randle comes out and has a big, big game.
Okay. Who do you guys have in that series, Julian?
Man, I mean, definitely Knicks is 7. But I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta pulled this out. Like, from what I'm seeing.
Jose, who do you have in that series?
Like, just on an eye test. If we don't make adjustments defensively, then it's just gonna be the same shit. So,
Knicks in 7.
I've got Knicks in 6, actually. I think you guys got too many horses for these dudes. Expect you guys to come out and play them better defensively. I expect Julius Randle to do what he's been doing during the regular season, which is absolutely giving them the sloppy dick. Yeah. I got the Knicks there. All right, so that wraps up our first round East predictions. We will, guys, see you for the next video, which is going to be our West first round predictions. So stay tuned for that. Take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Once again, I'm your boy Exotic. You can catch me on all social media platforms at Xmg.Xotic. We got next to me, or below me, as you're gonna see, is
your boy Jose, Cuban boy _305, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, wherever the hell y'all want to follow me.
And then lastly, we got next to me,
your favorite Knicks fan, JD. Follow me on Twitter, XMGJD. Yep. Just wait for that next video.
All right, we'll see you guys in a little bit for our West first round predictions. Stay tuned.